So since we're coming up on Halloween and the spooky season, do you believe in ghosts?
Well, I grew up in a haunted house, so believing is never really an option for me.
Would you be comfortable sharing a little bit more about that?
Sure, I mean, we talked about it before. What do you want to know?
What kind of things would happen in the house?
We get the usual stuff, you know, lights malfunctioning, lots of noises, bangs and knocks. We would hear footsteps in the hallway when everybody would be asleep, you know, stuff would move. Things would disappear and reappear, and you'd find them in, like, we'd find things in the freezer. Like, very just weird little things like that. But there was one thing that was like the worst of it all. As we grew up, we started calling him the Shadow Man. That guy sucked.
How often would you see the Shadow Man?
Almost daily. I don't think I could give you an accurate number of the amount of times we would see him. It was more how often we didn't see him. It was pretty much a constant.
Can you tell me more about that? Like, what would he be doing when you saw him?
Oh, okay. Well, so most of the time he was just like kind of a watcher, you know. He would stand in the corner and he would just look at you, and you could always feel like he hated us. I don't know why. We were two little girls. We never did anything, you know. And he was big. He was very tall, you know, the black shadow, and sometimes you could see his eyes and they were red, and sometimes it was just the black shadow. But, you know, he would watch you, and sometimes you'd wake up and he'd be at the end of your bed, or he'd be right next to your bed. And those were always the worst times because, you know, they talk about like sleep paralysis. We were getting that before we even knew what it was, and we just thought it was, you know, like, it's, when you're kids, you don't really know what to think. It's just life. And he would do this really creepy thing though. Our dad had insomnia, and he used to come in and check on us every night, sometimes more than once. And he'd open the door just enough, and he was like 6'5". So he would like lean his arm up on the door frame, just kind of peek his head in and just check on us, make sure the kids were okay, and then he would try and go back to sleep. And he did that a lot, but there was a lot of times when you'd hear the door open and it wouldn't be Dad standing there. And I mean, my dad doesn't have red eyes, you know, but it would do the exact thing. It would poke its head in, arm up on the door frame, but the difference was this thing was taller than our dad, and he was 6'5", like I said. So it was very much not him. And, you know, he would come around a lot when we were really sad, or we were really, you know, we'd been fighting, or, you know, like we were getting bullied at school. Anytime anything really bad was going on, a lot more stuff would happen in the house. And it was pretty much always him.